The best way to have a podcast is to have a conversation, is to build rapport, is to build a relationship with the person. This is how you build a lifetime relationship with the person. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have met Corinthian. You know what I'm saying? I talk about the family crest. So what I did was I used the short form content to literally refer to my long form content podcast video of more detail. So what did I do? I literally chopped up the most important parts of the long form content and created it in the short form content. So how to create a crest? You go to Fiverr and you search family crest, and then you go to uspto.gov and then copyright and trademark it. And then after that, you go to a jeweler and then have it created. And then from there, boom, that's the short form content right there. And if you want to learn more, DM me the word legacy to learn more, to learn the exact blueprint. That's the call to action after every one of my videos. DM me legacy to learn the exact blueprint. And then I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, what about the caption? I put the same thing in the caption. I don't even overthink it. If anything, I'll add something at the end just to make a variation or something. DM me the word legacy to learn the exact blueprint step by step. Rocket launcher emoji. That's literally all I do. There's no difference between, the call to action and the caption. Unless I'm doing some inspirational post, which I rarely do, which I did yesterday, but that was only because we just came off an event, right? So the key thing here that I want y'all to understand is that content can be so simple, okay? Because all I'm doing is using my short form content to forward them to my podcast, which is the long form content. And then as soon as we get to the long form content, I'm using every single thing Brendan told me. Put 3 ads in there. Have other people put ads in there. Then I'm putting the call to action in the beginning and the end. Then I'm making sure I'm at least 30 to hour and 30 minutes long. And I'm giving all the value. Bring other people on the podcast. Leverage him to bring other people on the podcast. Go on other podcasts to promote your podcast. There's so many different things that you could do to get people have eyeballs on you. The key thing is that for you to have eyeballs, exposure is the most important thing. I learned that from network marketing, is to have as much exposure as possible, because exposure is what gets eyeballs for people to even care about what you're saying. So put a 3 in the chat real quick if y'all are understanding real quick. Am I giving some facts? Is this good? So I'm telling you, the exposure and the content, I might have gave y'all a whole bunch there, but I'm one of those people that really go crazy when it comes to content. But I'm gonna give you some tactful stuff. See, I gave you new information. Like I said, there's only 2 types of content that I give you. I give you new information, and then I give you tactful stuff. So most of y'all are like, well, that's cool, but how can I use this now? Right? So this is how you use this now. This is literally how I went viral. This is the exact blueprint of how I did it. I picked 5 types of content, okay? And I posted 5 times a day until one of them hit. That's literally all I did. I posted 5 times a day. So one was like an inspirational post. One was like pointing. One was BTS with words on the screen. One was, you could literally just copy whatever everybody else is doing, but make sure that the 5 posts are posts that go viral, that are already working. You're not finding posts that you think is important. You're finding posts that other people have felt are important, right? Or they felt that triggers them or is important to them. So I'll pick 5 of those and post 5 times a day. What I'm doing is gauging based off of your responses. So what I'm doing is now I'm creating a conversation instead of a podcast. The best way to have a podcast is to have a conversation. It's to build rapport. It's to build a relationship with the person. This is how you build lifetime relationships with the person. If it wasn't for you, I would have met Corinthian again. You get what I'm saying? Most people have podcasts and they're robots, right? Now you could have a VA write all of your questions down to ask them, but then again, you also have to gauge the conversation, right? You can't just say, "Oh, well, tell us about yourself." "Oh yeah, I was in the production space for a little bit. I was filming for other people. And in the meantime, I ended up stumbling across Connectly. We ended up connecting. I ended up being a partner for them. And now we make a gajillion dollars together. And most people know me for Connectly and the filming process." And then the next question that you ask him that most people do is, "Oh, that's great. So tell me about how you traveled to this place. How did that even relate to what he was talking about?" You should have went more in depth and said, "Oh, dope! You know, you were in Connectly. Oh, cool. Well, how did you get connected with Connectly?" So that's all it is. You gotta actually still be in the flow. You still have to have some form of skill set when you're in a podcast. I'm not saying for you to not have a skill set. You still need a skill set. But the biggest skill set that I'm teaching you right now is called leadership. I have a team of people that do things upon my command when I say something, but they don't just do it because of command. They do it because I also build relationship with my team, right? And so the thing is you want to have a relationship with the people that is in your podcast just as much as you have a relationship with your team, right? If I didn't have a great team, I wouldn't be here right now, right? So you have to learn how to delegate. That's a skill set. You have to learn how to become a leader. That's a skill set. And you have to learn to become a great communicator. That's a skill set. You can't have any one of those things, because if you don't have any one of those things, then there's no way you can create content, because content is a form of authority and credibility, right? And so if you can't communicate, then you out here speaking like, what's that rapper, Narwick or something like that, who sound crazy on raps. He can't enunciate words. No, judge, he make money, so I'm all power for that. Yeah, he make money. But I'm just saying that you're speaking like people who, they're not going to be able to understand what you're saying, right? Leadership skills is if you can portray yourself as a leader, then people will follow you, right? And so you have to have these key principles in place to really run your business, because what you're doing is you're a walking business owner. And honestly, you're a walking family business owner, because everybody has a family. I mean, nobody out here is asexual. I'm just letting you know, right? So you are a walking business, and you have to treat yourself as a walking business. All right. So put a 2 in the chat if this makes sense. My team is everything. What team members should be a part of the podcast team? Great question. Great question. So I have a production assistant. I have a social media manager. I have a copywriter, and I have 2 types of video editors. Okay. You have a long form content video editor, and then you have a short form content video editor. All right. Then you have a live streamer. Now, usually the production assistant and the live streamer, in my case, will be the same person, right? But you will have those key people. I think, what did I say? Production assistant, you have the social media manager, long form content editor, short form content editor, copywriter, and thumbnail designer. I knew I missed somebody, because those are 6 people. You need all 6 of those people to actually run your podcast on autopilot, where you're just not involved. Your social media manager are the people that are over all of your team members. And then above your social media manager, your production assistant is over everybody. So the hierarchy is like this: production assistant, social media manager, everybody else. That's how it works, because your production assistant is reporting straight to you. The production assistant is talking to the social media manager, and then your social media manager is doing the quality control for everybody else, and then responsible for posting content, editing, making sure that the editing is on point, quality assurance is on point, making sure that they share the same vision as you, right? Because you may have a vision for a video, but the social media manager may have a different vision for the video. So your responsibility as a leader is to duplicate your vision onto them, to make sure that you two are in alignment. And so if your social media manager and your production assistant is in alignment, then all your videos will be fire, right? So these are key things that you have in your production or podcasting team. Did I miss anybody in the process of podcasting? Yeah, so long form content editor, short form content editor. You're going to have 2, which is one person is going to get you on other podcasts, and then you're going to have another one where you are going to you're going to ask for sponsors for your podcast, right? How do you use AI to fill those roles? Great question. Let's see. We got a social media manager. How do I do that on a social media management perspective? We got a editor, thumbnail editor. Thumbnail editor, you'll actually need a person, because the editing style now is a lot more sophisticated, and AI isn't that fire yet to do sophisticated thumbnail editing. You can go on Fiverr to do it, though. That's the closest thing to get a great thumbnail editor. When it comes to long form content, here's a great autopod.ai is a great AI software for you to use. It takes out all the space in between, the white noise, the negative space. It automatically edits the video for you. You have a finished product by the time the editing software is done. So autopod.ai is a great place for you. That could replace your long form content video editor. Now, I would still use them, because you may have some pieces that a long form content video editor may need to put in place, because AI is not perfect. So you may need a person to manage them, right? Short form content, you can use video.ai. That's a good AI software for you to use. That's a good, but the thing is, you got to know what you're doing with video.ai. So I would still use a short form content person in there, but these people aren't really doing major editing. They're just managing it majorly, right? Let's see. Social media manager, you're going to still need a person in there. Copywriter, you can use ChatGPT for that. Let's just be honest. You can use ChatGPT for copywriter completely. If you know, but you have to be a good prompter, right? So you have to be really good at prompting things. You have to ask the right questions, say the right things in order for it to spit out the right information. But and the sponsorship, you're gonna need a person. For a podcasting person, you're gonna need a person. There may be editing tools out there, but AI tools out there, but they're not that good enough to replace those roles.